I just want to say thank you guys for coming on and joining me and, having this conversation. In the previous episode, we talked to different women about their relationships with their dads. So, since we're talking about the men we carry in our minds, I said, why not have a bunch of men on the podcast who actually are dads? I know two of you are girl dads, and one of you boy dad, but was in a girl dad situation before. So thank you. I really appreciate it. And I chose you three because I think very highly of you guys when it comes to you guys being dads. So thank you. All right, so let's get into it. You guys want to introduce yourself? I'll start with Terrence.
Uh, I'm Terrence Trafton. Do I got to say where I'm from? New York? Are we all from different places?
I mean, we're all from different places. Whatever you want to say to introduce yourself.
I'm Terrence. I'm from New York. I'm a dad.
Straight to the point.
Jamari.
Same thing. I'm Jamare. I'm a dad.
Oh my God, you guys.
I don't have a specific place. I don't have a specific place of origin because I was a military brat, so I don't claim any one place.
Cool.
Omar. I'm Omar. Hail from Jamaica. Live in Florida originally. Always will be in Florida. I love the weather.
Okay. Well, thank you, all three of you, for coming on, even though you just say I'm a dad. So typical of you, male. But it's okay. I appreciate it. All right. So we're going to kick off.
There you go. There you go.
I'm just saying, typical of a man to just give me a one-liner. Me now, I'm like, well, I'm a mom of a 15-year-old, and I'm gonna go into details. But it's okay. I appreciate that.
Difference between men and women.
It's okay. I appreciate it. All right, so we're gonna kick off by starting off with what does it mean to be a dad. In my previous episode, I talked about what it meant to have a dad in my life when I was young. I was daddy's girl, spoiled, and then to not have him in my life, it was a huge difference for me. So I want to start off by asking you guys, what does it mean to you about being a dad?
Uh, I could go first. For me, it's just being there for your kids, giving them good advice, trying to put them onto some game if they'll listen to you. Um, I think most of it is just being there as a father and just being present.
Being present. Did it change you when you became a dad?
Uh, it did in terms of like focus. So my daughter, she was born when I was 24. I just graduated from college. I thought I still had a little bit of time to play, but once you have a kid, you got to get a good job. You got to get a bank account. Uh, you can't really, it's like it's a difference when you playing around with your personal life and you want to, procrastinate. But when you have a kid that relies on you, you got to start taking things a little bit more seriously. So yeah, it changed me in terms of focused and just pretty much what I waste my time on.
Jamari, how about you? What does it mean to you being a dad? I know you have how many kids? 3, 4?
I think my definition of being a dad or a parent is just being a guide and trying to expose them and guide them and cultivate whatever their interests are.
Okay, so when you became a dad, how old were you? Did that change the dynamics of the kind of man you were?
Not really. I was, how old was I? 23, 24 when I had my twin girls. But I've always been focused. I've always been about business and trying to hustle. So I would say maybe, I wouldn't even say it stepped my hustle up. I was always trying to hustle. So it just made me, to have girls first, I would say kind of simmered me down as far as being as aggressive as I naturally was or naturally am. So I would say that it kind of, softened you up a little bit. But
Oh, Jamari's soft.
no, I said a bit.
Okay. How about you, Omar? What does it mean being a dad to you?
Forward thinking, that changed a lot for me. Um, Not just thinking about today, but think about tomorrow and the next day and the next day. You know what I mean? Trying to be prepared, not just present, but be prepared for whatever comes. So, definitely forward thinking for me. That is definitely what changed for me.
Okay. So it changed you as a person? Like, what were you doing before you became a dad that made you switch and say, I got to think about the future versus think about myself and now?
Oh, I was just thinking about myself. I was just like, what I mean, enjoying myself, honestly, like just drinking, partying, enjoying myself, like living it up 100%. But once that kid, what I'm saying, surface, what I mean, it's been like a full 360. You know what I'm saying? Like we're now,
Stress?
oh, definitely everything possible, like every emotion possible, but it's worth it because at the end of the day, like we never like really focus on. Well, me personally, I never focus on what the end game is the person that I've become, I mean, during that whole process. So that's definitely what I've been focusing on just carrying on and just,
So being a
going through.
dad
Yeah,
changed the trajectory of your
definitely,
future.
definitely,
Okay.
definitely.
I know being a girl dad and being a boy dad can be different. I'm not a dad, so I want you guys' perspective. How is it different being a girl dad than being a boy dad? Are you more tougher on your son or your daughter?
I don't think it's different in terms of like in expectations. It's different in approach. So it's like for me, uh, you might have the same exact message for your son that you have for your daughter, but you might say it a little bit different. With my daughter, I gotta be mindful of my tone. I gotta be mindful of my approach with her because she's super sensitive. Um, and I also gotta just kind of just speak her language in a bit. But with my son, uh, my son's only 3, but it's a different approach. It's like I got nephews too. So with my nephews, I could be a little bit more harsh and direct. With my daughter, I got to kind of, put it in nice rapping for her. I can't really raise my voice with my daughter or she's going to cry and things like that. Versus
Aw.
my son or my nephew, uh, we just kind of give it to him raw, because we know it's a different world for him than it is for my daughter type of thing.
But don't you think you gotta prepare your daughter for the world out there?
Yeah, but my nephew, I could punch him in the chest. I can't punch my daughter in the chest to kind of get her
True.
attention.
Don't go
With my with
punching.
my with my daughter, I gotta kind of I gotta sit down and actually have a conversation with her. I gotta be calm. It's just a different approach. What do you guys think?
Sasha know me. I'm just direct with everyone.
Okay.
So my communication really doesn't change. I have a cookie cutting personality when it comes to presenting information. Um, Now that's what my wife is there for, because sometimes I could be a little too abrasive for my daughters. Um, but like if I'm going over the other side, she'll give me that look, and then I'll come back and intellectualize with her why I'm saying some of the things that I'm saying. I think that's important. As Sasha alluded to, like I tell my daughters all the time, the world doesn't.
Yeah, you could cuss.
Okay, the world, the world doesn't really give a damn about you know what you're going through, right? So I don't try to call my daughters princesses and all the other
Mhm.
stuff because uh, you're setting them up for failure. In my personal opinion, I think you're setting them up for
Yeah.
failure. Ain't no man gonna treat your daughter like no princess. I don't know too many men that's gonna treat you like a
Yeah.
princess though. Yeah. So yeah, when it comes to my son and my daughter, Sasha, I like to have conversations. Maybe 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour conversations with my kids on. Like I said, I'm a guide. I don't feel like I own my kids. At the end of the day, I tell them like it's your life.
Yeah.
I can just give you the best information I possibly can, and it's your life to your choice to adhere to it or not. At the end of the day, daddy gonna do what he daddy gonna do. So you know
But don't you think that little girls need guidance in the sense of what kind of man to choose in their future?
Your daughters are, the thing about it is your daughters are going to watch you. They're not going to listen to you directly. Your kids are going to watch how you treat women, watch how you treat their mom, watch how you speak to women. This is what they're watching. So you could tell them everything in the world that you expect or what they should look out for. But if you're not doing that for yourself, then they're gonna seek out men who are similar to you. So if you're abusive to people in your family, then that's the type of man they're probably gonna expect because that's what they know.
So do you think a child or your daughter needs to see her mom and her dad in a relationship together to see how her dad treats her mom to know how a man should treat a woman?
I think they need to see if they can't get it from their mother and their father, they got to get it from somewhere. They have to see it somewhere. This is why a lot of the times that if I argue with my wife, I make sure my kids are around. I make sure they understand my tone, and I make sure they see that we've come to a conclusion in our argument. They have to see that, right? If we shutting the doors and screaming and slamming the doors and walking away, then that's what they're going to be
True.
accustomed to, right? So
Okay, so you would think that people would not want to argue in front of their kids, but you're saying healthy arguments is okay as long as you're doing it in the right way, which I agree.
arguments all day. Fights, no. A fight, there is no conclusion. You're just screaming at each other, or trying to just tell your point and not listen to the other side. So arguments, yes.
Yeah,
Fights,
I
no.
know from experience dealing with you. Yeah, you love to argue. We be arguing all day about anything, but
She be fighting.
no, I
I'll
don't.
be arguing.
I be
Difference.
arguing.
It's a difference. Don't get me started. I'm trying to be nice right now.
I need you to be yourself, 100. All right, so Omar, how about you? I know you don't personally have a daughter, but you've had experience, raising a girl child. You want
Yeah,
to touch on that?
my my
Look in the
son's
camera.
mom. So she had a daughter. So I was very present in that brought up, and it kind of prepared me for being a parent. Like honestly speaking, it literally like catapulted me into actually making this decision to be like, all right, cool, I'm ready for this. You know what I'm saying? So definitely, I understand the idea of downplaying emotions or upplaying the emotions, understanding what a girl come from. Because if I talk rough, then my son's mom will be like, all right, well, you need to calm that down, change your tone. So I understand the tone idea of you guys, what I mean, coming from, like being a girl's dad and whatever it may be. So I learned quickly from that. And honestly speaking, it literally changed how I look at kids, like how I look at, teaching, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
the idea of what a parent is. It's not just your own idea, it's other people's influences, what I mean, your kids' influences and stuff like that. So definitely change the whole trajectory, and definitely it's a no. It's a no to fathers going forward, what I mean, not just being a boy's dad, but just being a dad in general. You have to be open to everything that comes with it, and that's just what it is.
So does this mean you're ready for a daughter?
Oh hell, today no, no. Honestly speaking, yeah, definitely, I'm ready for a daughter, but at the same time, like I'm more so ready for the woman to actually experience that. You know what I mean? Whole
What?
idea of being a girl's dad. Like it's not only me, you have to choose the right person to actually go forth in being a girl's dad with. It's not just only me, because my influence just only go a certain length. You know what I'm saying? You need an actual woman
So, ladies, if you're listening, he's single and he's looking for
What?
a woman.
I did not say that on camera. Just saying. Just
But
saying.
I feel like being a woman and learning from my dad, from him being there and not being there, that definitely the way you talk to your child, your girl child, it does affect her in the future. Because I don't remember my dad ever talking to me in a rough way or yelling at me. I think it never hit me. I remember one time he like chased me, like full on Usain Bolt, running around the backyard. And then when I got caught in a corner, he just stopped and started laughing because he couldn't believe that I almost outran him. But the way he spoke to me and was, I don't want to say gentle, but more patient with me, I think it definitely had an impact on who I became, because I feel like it made me a more patient person, with certain things, of course. So,
Emphasis.
the role of dad is important. We'll all agree on that, right? Um, what impact do you hope to have on your daughter's life in the future? Like, you're not around anymore, God forbid. What do you want to like leave her with? How do you want her to go out in the world and show up and you know be able to say, this is how I want people to treat me because this is how my dad treated me?
For me, I just want my daughter to be kind and respectful. She's really smart. I just think as parents right now, a lot of times when we're talking to our kids on a day to day basis, we are preparing them for when we're not around and they're our age and they have kids. So it's like we're not even really talking to the kid that we're talking to today. We're talking to who they're going to be in the future. So with my daughter, I just want her to be a kind person, love God, and just have respect for herself and demand respect from the people that are in her lives and impact people's lives. It's not enough to just be in people's lives, but help impact them to be better than who they are.
How do you teach her to respect herself?
Pretty much what Jamari said. Like, your kids are watching you, even in argument, but how you are with yourself. Your kid sees how you get dressed every day. They see how you speak about yourself. They see how you allow other people to treat you and how you treat other people. So that's how you show them through action. You could be like, hey, you're supposed to be. You could say all you want, but they're gonna pay attention to what you do on a day to day basis. So if you tell them to eat right and you eating Cheetos every day, it ain't going to really translate. So you got to be mindful of what you do.
There ain't nothing wrong with Cheetos. I work for
Ain't
Frapple.
nothing wrong with Cheetos.
Nothing wrong with Cheetos. You just gotta put
It's a fine balance between the two. So
that.
overall, you're right. But overall, just be a calm person, God fearing, and respect. I think respect is for yourself and other people is like one of the biggest things.
I love what you said about it's not just about her,
Mm,
but how she is in the world. Like, we got to be a better person for ourselves and for the world around us. So I think that
right,
that's very important for our kids to know, learn, especially in this day and age.
right.
How about you, Jamari?
Man, Terrence said everything I wanted to say on that. Especially the impact, being an impactful person. Like for real, I'm just gonna reiterate the same thing he just said, but just being an impactful person, that's super, super important. Like not just be a taker in the world, but also give and leave the world a better place than how you found it. I think that's super important. I would say that the number one thing that my dad raised me with is just be a thinker. If you can think, you can think your way into a situation, think your way out of a situation, and that's what I want to leave my kids with, the ability to critically think. If you can teach them how to think and not teach them, like some people are raising their kids to be ball players, some people are raising their kids to be doctors, some whatever you're raising, I raise my kids to be thinkers. I don't care what you do, as long as you can think, you'll never be out of work. You'll never be out of being able to get into something, even though you may not have that certification right now. You can do it because you have the ability to think. And I think that's what the world is missing right now, especially a lot of the kids. They just can't critically think.
Yeah, I think because technology is like taking over the world right now, and our kids don't necessarily have to think for themselves.
Yep.
So I think it's important as parents to teach them that you don't have to go out there and follow what everyone else is doing. Have your own thoughts, your own
Yeah.
mindset of how you want to live your life and the future you want to have it, and go for that. Not just because they said, well, the rule is you graduate high school and you go to college and then you get a job. But then you get a job and you owe more in student loan than you do than the job is paying you, and you're not happy. So teaching them to think for themselves is definitely key to helping them to survive in the future world.
That's the past generation. They didn't know any better. So,
I know. That's what
they
I
were
feel.
only going based off,
I feel like I got entrapped into that.
before,
Like, go to school, finish high
you
school, go
know,
to college, be a nurse, and then I became a little rebel and I'm like, I
Well,
don't want to be a nurse.
you didn't know any better.
Right.
You know what I mean?
when you talk about technology, remember, your kids are watching you. So if you're scrolling, they're scrolling. If you're watching TV all day, they're watching TV all day. Like if you tell your kid to read and you don't read, then like what?
Mm.
If you have like technology is a tool, right? So if I show my kids Chat GPT for example, I'm teaching them how to use it to make themselves better,
Yeah.
right? Because you can actually use it to learn in a faster, more efficient way than having kids just going there just specifically just to cheat their way through the system. Like I said,
Yeah.
eventually it all come out in the wash. Like if you're cheating your way through the system, eventually somebody's going to call you on your bullshit and you're just going to look stupid, right? So I think technology gets a bad name. It's only based on who your parents are. How good are your parents are with technology, right? Can they show you how to use the technology properly, right? Um, and again, that's a part of being a guide, being able to show them things.
Yeah. And I could definitely say that I have a 15, almost 16-year old, and she's like her own little entrepreneur. And I feel like she knows how to work the computers and how to set up her own website and booking site. And I tell her all the time, you don't have to go to college. I'm not forcing you, right? But if you want to do hair long term, think about a backup plan. Maybe you want to have a bunch of salons where you hire people to work for you, but learn how to do the business so that you can not hire someone else to do it and you can think for yourself and be able to do it for yourself. So you're right, definitely having the parent that guides them in the right direction and not just use the technology that's now taking over to cheat your way through life. So. Omar, how about you?
What was the question?
so,
Everybody got their point. I'm just saying.
what was the question again? I was asking about too much tequila. Okay, so.
Nah, but just being a parent with technology, like to be honest, like these kids that we have now, they're very receptive to nowadays technology. Like if anything, we learn from them. You know what I'm saying? So we have to literally dumb down what they're doing, honestly speaking, and actually like let them understand that like fast is not
Always best.
the best. You know what I'm saying? But slowly is the fastest way you can get to where you need to go. Like understanding, not just doing, but understanding what it is you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like what you want to capture from this situation or whatever you're trying to do. And I think that is the best way to actually like counsel or treat or let them understand the direction that you're trying to teach them.
For the purpose of technology.
Purpose of technology. Purpose of technology, to be honest, is literally far gone as to what we understand. Because, to be honest, like we know one way, but at the end of the day, like technology on its own, it's far gone. It's 2 years ahead of us. You know what I'm saying? But we have to actually understand and go forward 2 years ahead and understand, like, yo, this is either here to simplify us or literally like progress. Is very simple. Like, which route you want to take, and you have to just understand that, like, this is what it is. Like, pick one route and just go with it, and that's just what it is. As parents.
Gotta teach them the right way to use it, the
Correct.
tools. Like you said, it's a resource, to help better us, to help us progress at different rates. So we're gonna wrap it up right now.
That's it.
And wait, I got two questions asked, two major questions, right?
Quick.
Quick
Yay,
episode.
that was it.
30 minutes in, 40 minutes in. But these two questions are what I want to focus on the most. I want you guys to think about one piece of advice you'd give to other dads out there who may be not present in their girl child's life or even in their child's life. Like one piece of advice you would give to them being a dad that is actually present in your child's life.
That's easy. Everybody already said it.
Okay, we gotta reiterate it.
Show up.
Yeah, just show up. Even if you don't have any money, it doesn't take money to sit on a blanket in the park and have a conversation. Um, it don't really take much. My greatest memories with my dad, it wasn't because he was spending a bunch of money. It was us playing basketball or us playing cards or something like that, or watching an old movie that he liked and he was putting me on to. So a lot of dads, they might have issues with the mom, but that ain't got nothing to do with your kids. Just show up for your kids, man. And find out what their interests are and
Listen,
just do those things with them. It don't really take much, but it really takes respect for time and relationships.
Show up.
So as long as you present and you willing to do the work, just show up for your kid because that's what they're gonna remember.
Yep.
They ain't gonna really remember every gift you got them for Christmas or for their birthday, but they're gonna remember who was standing in those stands when they had a basketball game or anything. So I think that's the most important thing, and give your kids advice for the future. What would you want to know at that age that somebody didn't tell you that you wish they would have told you? Where to put your money, what to waste your time on, and things like that. So
Buy a house ASAP.
ASAP, literally. I bought a house and had like 150K equity. So it's like buy a house. Stop buying them Jordans, man. Buy the,
Terrence,
I
wait a
agree.
minute,
I
wait a minute,
agree.
wait a
I
minute, wait a
agree.
minute, Terrence.
I
How many
agree.
Jordans is in your closet right now?
I got a lot of Jordans, but I also got a house.
How long you been buying Jordans, Terrence?
Since I was in fifth grade,
hey,
probably.
that man got his crib though. He got his
Right.
priorities in order.
So
That is
There you
true.
go.
yeah,
There you go.
but
You can buy once you get your stuff. You can do whatever you want to do with your money.
right.
I would say the same thing. Definitely, instead of when we say show up, I definitely want to define that a little bit more because showing up, you definitely want to be an involved parent. Just dads statistically involved in their child's lives. We just add way more sauce to their life than mothers do. This is a statistic. This is true. We give a little bit more structure, order. And that's why I would tell, I personally don't have friends that are not involved in their kids' life. We're not vibing on this thing. I can't do it. So be involved. And if you're not with the mom, try to be involved. Cause I know showing up when you ain't got no bread, she ain't gonna want you to show up. So she don't want you to show up at the game if you ain't bringing no money with you. But definitely, yeah, man. Y'all know it's true. We talk about showing up. I wish you would show up to
I'm not even gonna lie.
and you're gonna have a problem.
I'm not even gonna lie because it takes money to raise a kid.
Go ahead.
It does.
It takes money, and especially with
But
inflation and all the needs of
listen,
a kid. If you got a kid who is involved in sports or extracurricular activities, like it takes money. So you being an absent parent and you want to show up for the graduation and you want to show up when she won something, or something great is happening. That's not acceptable, because you didn't help get this child here. So I feel like you're gonna show up, you better show up with some money.
No, that don't count
but
because the
you
kid
but
don't
that's
remember
still
that.
important though.
It is
Right.
important, but the kid don't remember that. The kid don't remember that.
If you
You
show up
want
for
to
the
be able
graduation,
to
you never showed up
and
for your kid.
still in your kid's 100%.
You see what you said right there? If he showed up for the graduation, he never showed up. Is that
Yeah.
exactly what you said? You kind of
Yeah, if you just showing up for the graduation, that's not a show up. Yeah, if you show up for the graduation, you never showed up. That's not showing up. You've
No.
been absent their kid's entire life. But I would say this, and this is this very slippery slope. It's about one, what type of financial situation that man is in, right? And maybe his only monetary way he can go into the child's life is being there. Now, if he ain't got no bread, and you don't want him to see your child because he ain't got no bread, then that's something that you have to deal with, right? Y'all have to work something out, because if he's still trying to be there and legit he doesn't have any bread, like he ain't got no money, you're not gonna let him see his child, right? See, that's the issue.
I'm not saying that if he don't got no money, I'm not gonna let him see his child. Absolutely not, right? But like we're saying, showing up comes in different forms, right? You have to, I feel like when you become a parent, it's not about yourself, right? So if you were back then, like you said, you were just thinking about yourself, right? You were partying, drinking, you weren't worried about maybe making extra money. Like you weren't doing the things that you needed to do to be a parent. So just saying, well, I'm gonna stick with this job at wherever I'm working, making minimum salary or whatever, and here I have this kid that I need to take care of that needs things. So I'm not going to show up. I'm not going to show up financially. I'm not showing up emotionally. So that doesn't work. So they all play a role. Like you can't just give money and not be there for the kid. You cannot just be there for the kid emotionally but not contribute financially, because the burden on one person is too much. I'm speaking from example.
But what I'm
Experience.
saying is you can be there even if you're not financially stable. Because at the end of the day, it's what your kid remembers, what your kid knows. If your kid know that you're gonna be there or you're there for him, that's the most important part. Because
Yeah.
financially, it's a whole stigma. Like if you give baby mama or wifey, $500 a month,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? And that can't do what she need for it to do, then you're not giving enough. And then you give another person $500 a month, that do everything that is needed.
It ain't my fault you got two baby mamas.
See what I'm saying? see what I'm saying? See
No,
what I'm
but
saying?
listen to me.
I think that I think it's important. I understand finances, right? I understand that. But I think it's important, more so than finances, that a dad is in the child's life. Whether you got money or not, you need to be present in that child's life. And I don't think a mother should withhold him seeing his child because he doesn't have money. Now, he has to come to the understanding, sir, she needs help financially raising this kid. So you got to do what you got to do. But that says a lot about our society too. That even if the man is working at Walmart, he still should be able to afford to take care of his kids, right? So I would tell the girl this: you met him, he was working at Walmart. You knew he had no money.
All right.
So why the heck you lay with somebody who ain't got no bread? You know he ain't got no bread, and you still laid with him. He working at Walmart. That you made a financial decision too. You made a financial decision when you laid with this dude who worked at Walmart and he could barely pay for his own bills himself. So now you expect him all of a sudden do what? Step up to the plate financially?
I 100% agree with what you're saying. And I'm going to put a little bit of my situation in there, even though I don't want to, but I mean,
Carry on.
I was married, right?
Hey, be careful. All right, be careful because he could be watching. Be careful.
I was married, right? Got a divorce, moved from one state to the next, and I was financially responsible for sending my child back and forth to New York to see her dad, right? And maybe after 2, 3 years, like something clicked in me like, why is it my responsibility alone to financially provide for this child and financially come up with this money to send her back and forth? I didn't feel like that was just my responsibility, you know? And then he was over there feeling like, well, I want to go get my PhD. I want to do this. I want to do that. And I'll stick to, why are you smiling at me?
I'm not
I'll
smiling.
stick to working this one job and not help out financially because I'm not seeing my child. I don't think that's fair. I feel like when you become a parent, you make that decision to show up. You show up emotionally, you're present no matter, I could live across the world. It's your job to show up, you
Nah,
know? And
yeah.
I'm not just saying financially, I'm saying in every aspect. But when you got to think about women out there who are taking on all the financial burdens of taking care of a child by themselves. And it's not that they decided, oh, I'm going to marry the guy at Walmart, even though people at Walmart be making money, you know what I'm saying? They make more than teachers. Um, but it's not like they woke up and said, I'm going to marry the guy with the least amount of money or the guy that has no ambition. Because I was married, he has ambition, he's smart as hell, you know, but to not be present and to not show up financially and not take accountability, saying, well, no matter where my child is, I'm gonna make sure I have that relationship with my child.
Everything you're saying is correct. We're just saying if you don't have those other things, at least show up. So everything you're saying is correct. The main thing is that
He said,
you're supposed to be they it was designed for us to be married to the person we having kids with.
Right.
But every situation is not the same, but the basics is to show up for your child
The
in the
bare
best
minimum.
way possible.
Yep.
So yes,
Yep.
financially, you're supposed to take care of your children financially. You're supposed to show up for them emotionally. You're just supposed to be present. Yeah, but if you can't do anything, just show up for your child.
Anything.
So
Show up.
Yep.
just show up.
yeah,
Just show up.
That's the bare minimum.
All right, guys, you
yeah,
heard it. Just show up.
You can go 100 miles around the whole situation. Just show up.
facts. Yeah,
Just show up.
Just show up.
And a woman has to allow him to bring his broke ass to the to
yeah,
the to the baseball game. She got to
Broke
allow him
ass
to
over
show his
here.
broke ass up to the baseball game,
yeah.
and not she has to keep her emotions in check about how she feels about him or how she feels about the situation because a child don't even know that daddy broke. Child don't know none of that, right? Like they say, my best experiences was fishing with my dad, or my best experience was just hanging with my dad, right? Just going on a car ride with him. It didn't have to be anything serious. But again, you got to put the onus on the couple. When y'all decided to do something together, is she type of person that you want? This would save me growing up. My dad said, "Be careful who you lay with, because that girl can end up having your baby. And do you see yourself spending the rest of your life with this person?" So there'll be some bad chicks I'll be messing with, and that'll hit me. My dad, I hear his voice in my head, and I realize this chick is dumb as hell. No way do I want this child having my baby, this woman having my baby. No
I
way,
didn't get that. I didn't get
no
that
way.
whole information. That chick, laying with bro. I was all about like, yo, yep, her, yep, that's it. Full stop.
Hey, listen, in college, I got made fun of. I got made fun of for that. I got made fun of in college for that.
For what exactly?
Like turning down a bad chick.
Yeah.
Like I was talking to this chick at the gazebo. I brought her to the gazebo outside FIU, and she was bad. But within like 5 minutes in the conversation, I realized she's probably one of the dumbest people I ever met in my life. And I walked her to her car. And she was like, "Oh, we going to your dorm room?" I'm like, "Nah." And so all my homeboys are sitting at the picnic table, and they're like, "Yo, what's?" I'm like, "Yeah, she dumb." They're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, she dumb. I can't mess with that. Can't. I don't want to have no. I don't want to have dumb babies."
You can have some chicks chime in. I mean, I'm just
I
saying, like,
mean, just like how men choose, who they lay with or who they want to have babies with. For me, I'm not just gonna lay with anybody and have a baby with anybody. You know what I'm saying?
men don't choose that. I'm sorry, men don't choose that. Some men, I would say like 30% of men choose who they lay with and have a kid with.
What
The
do you
other
got?
the other 70%, we just winging it. Honestly speaking,
Are you 70%?
hell, freaking yeah.
How
I'm
about you,
part of the
Terrence?
70%.
They say women control sex and men control marriage. So um, it's really up to the woman, really, on what we doing, how we laying with them. If
Exactly,
we allowed to take the condom off,
exactly.
like it's their choice. But we control if you ever get that ring or not.
That's what
So
it is. Real talk. That's what
yeah,
it is. Like, women control sex.
Facts.
We control the longevity of the relationship. Like,
yeah.
we choose, oh, you're gonna be my girl, my wife, stuff like that. The women control, you gonna sleep with me tonight or tomorrow. Like, that's the women decision.
Right.
We think longevity. You know what I'm saying? Big difference. That's all it is.
Okay. Mari?
Yeah, like I told my wife, when I was in college, I learned to flip the script, so I started controlling sex. I would not let a woman. I would not let women control. It'll piss me off the minute I feel like a woman's trying to control me with sex. I would literally stop. I'm like, yo, you got to go.
You are a powerful man.
I got
He thinks he's the
I don't think
god.
that powerful. I don't think that powerful. It's a cheat code, but I don't think that's powerful.
it's a cheat. No, trust and believe is the biggest cheat code you can ever use. Because you
There
know
you
what the
go.
woman's gonna say
There you
after
go.
that when she call you the next
There
day.
you go.
You're not like other
There you go.
guys.
There you
That
go.
is true.
So you are
That's what she gonna
a
say.
master manipulator.
That's it.
That's what my wife called me.
Get her
But
on the
but the, and
line.
the, but the thing is, hold on. I'm gonna tell her to come on one of your shows. Listen, but the thing is, I wasn't doing it. I didn't want them to control me. And I'm an athlete at FIU, and I didn't want women to control me. That's a scary thing. Being an athlete, my friend was in UCF. He got charged with rape when he didn't touch the chick.
Oh wow.
Wow.
So that was a scary thing for us being an athlete in college. You know, you don't want to, get in that situation because they're gonna crucify you first before they find out you didn't do anything.
I agree.
Yeah. And the damage is done even when they find out you didn't do anything.
The damage is
Damage is
done.
done.
Now, once
Damage
you're
is done.
accused, it's a wrap.
That's why we need to be more aware of the choices we make
No, did it.
and and teach our children, you know, to make better choices than we may have had to make back then, Um, Another question I have for you guys. I know a lot of women out there, they weren't raised by their dads. Um, and they may feel like they have missed out on the dad experience. Do you have anything to say to them? Like, what would you say to a woman out there, like, who did not have that dad experience?
Just because you don't have a dad doesn't mean somebody couldn't be your dad. That's why we have family members. You got uncles. Um, you have mentors. So it's not like just because you don't have a biological father. Well, we all have a biological father, but somebody that's biological in your life, that's in your house every day, it doesn't mean you can't develop relationships where you have father figures, whether it's your grandfather, your uncle. Sometimes it could be your best friend's father. So and I always tell people to seek out mentorship. A lot of times it's hard for women specifically to trust men. You just have to find a man you can trust. So it's a little you know, tricky for women just being vulnerable with a man and let him develop that relationship with them as a father figure. But it's nothing wrong with mentorship, people in your church. Just find somebody you could trust.
I think they need to find someone like Terrence said, who's a mentor, somebody that'll kill somebody for him,
Mm.
like for real. Um, what I wish what I back then when I was talking to my wife when we met in college, I will always go to women that didn't have dads. If they didn't have a dad, it's gonna be easy. This is fun. They had a dad. It's like I tell people all the time. It's easier to have the mom love you than a dad accept you. Right? I can say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, and oh my goodness, Jamare, he's this, he's that. The mama's gonna be full. The daddies, I don't care what you do. They don't care if you're a 4.0 student. They don't care if you about to go to the best college in the world. They don't care about none of that stuff that you're talking about.
Yeah.
All they care about how you're gonna treat their daughter. And my daughter's not supposed to be in a relationship right now. Come back in 10 years. Right. And so I think what's happening is a lot of women don't have that protection of men, that male that's going to show up for them. I'll give you a quick story. Um, I came back. I have a younger sister, and so I came back from college one summer. I think I was like maybe 21, and I came back, and they were walking home from school. Her and my little brother, and I heard a commotion outside. Some I ain't gonna say what color they were, but some little white boys messing with my sister. And I heard the commotion. I'm FIU football track. I come out there with my shirt. I'm like, yo, what's up? What all this noise going on? The boys ran. They was apologizing, right? And I say that to people is when you have a big brother, when you have a male in your life that that's always going to show up for you. That when you meet a men know men. So I want to meet the man that you're talking to, so I can tell you if he's cut from the same cloth that you're looking for, right? Because I could look at a man and tell you if he's treating you right or if he's no good. Really, it ain't hard. Men know men, and that's why young men don't want to meet the dad because they know all the bullshit they do, all the games that they play to manipulate women. It doesn't work on men. It doesn't work. We can see right through it. We can see right to your core. And so that's what I would say for any woman that didn't grow up with a father, like Terrence said, find an uncle, a pastor, or somebody that you can trust. I always tell women this, and Sasha, tell you this all the time. The man that you can trust is the man that doesn't want to fuck. If he don't want to
Yeah.
fuck you, you could trust.
I
If he want
trust
to
you,
fuck
my
you,
brother.
if he want to, like,
Nah,
if he's trying to hit,
nope,
Yeah.
nah, mm-mm,
I
nope,
remember.
nope. I ain't chiming in that, bro. Sorry. I ain't doing that.
Why now? What?
There's a 1%. I'm just saying. There's a 1%. I'm not gonna go in details, but there's a 1%.
Mhm.
That's all I'm saying. You know.
Yeah, I mean,
But me personally, I can say for the women that I would talk to is know your worth. That's it.
hmm,
If I have a daughter, if I have a niece, whatever it may be, know your worth. Like if you feel as if you worth more than that, then don't submit to that. Like literally go above that. You know what I'm saying? Shut that down. You know what I'm saying? Go to a higher situation and know your worth. That's just what it is. But as far as the dude that trying not to hit, nah, nah. As men, we are more creative than that. I'm just saying. Just saying that. Just put that there. I'm just saying.
I'll just say, it's as men, there's a different approach if I want to have sex with you. There's a different agenda there. So the advice I might give you might be a little bit to swindle you into my bed, right? Versus
Come on now. Come on.
versus the guy
Speak the
who don't
facts.
want nothing from
Speak
you.
the
He
facts,
just
man.
wants, there's a difference between the girl I'm trying to sleep with and the girl I look at as my family member or my sister because I'm gonna give her the best advice possible. I might admit some things with a girl that I'm trying to sleep with, because I know I ain't trying to mess up something later. I got desires. But he's right though. It's like you got to find somebody because even in this world, it's so nasty out here, man. You could even find a pastor, and the pastor might be crooked and try to sleep with you. Uh, you know,
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
it's
I
just
don't trust Pastor for nothing.
it's really hard for women to trust men because it's like it's not a lot of good, genuine people out here in the world. So you come across some people who you think they're in a certain position, they wouldn't try you in a certain way. So it is valuable to know your worth, but it's also valuable to have men in your life that's going to put you on the game and tell you what to look for. Because some dudes will make a million promises to you just to get you in the bed. Hold up, sorry, somebody called me.
Bro.
Just to get you in the bed, and then they'll switch it up on you in the end. So
So
you do have to
I
have somebody that
100% agree with you, Terrence, because again, speaking from experience, because
Sweet.
I remember Jamare had told me one time that men won't want to take it far with you if they don't see that you got a bunch of men behind you to protect you.
right.
Something of that sort. I don't remember exactly what he said, but I 100%
Yeah, you messed
agree.
it up, but you got it.
I got it, right?
Yeah, you messed it up a
I'm
little bit,
sorry,
but you
my
got it.
bad,
Yeah.
my bad. My brain sometimes.
But you just gotta think about it. If I know like that the girl dad is crazy, right? If I meet the dad and I know that this man will put a bullet in me for tripping on his daughter, I'm gonna be my approach to her is gonna be a little differently. And I'm telling you, my approach is going to be differently because men don't like confrontation with other men because we know having confrontation with a man can ultimately lead to violence. That's what it can lead to.
As slick as you are, as slick as we think we are, as men, you know what I mean? We
Mhm.
literally like talk a girl panties off, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. You think that we care about what the dad thinks?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
most
Like
Can
a
I
definitely.
just
real man
chime in on
does.
that?
Yeah, a real man.
A real man does.
But a real man that literally wants to just hit and move is not.
Let me tell you
They
Oh,
don't
most
why.
definitely.
care about what the dad thinks. They just want to hit and move. Like,
Let me tell you why though. And
Terrence.
I'll tell you why. There's a difference between a woman in the world and you ain't gonna meet her family and you just smashing. That's different. But if you in a situation, especially growing up, like I got a 16-year-old daughter now. When I was 16, I loved the girls who didn't have a father at home, and I knew their mom was gonna work 9 to 5. We're gonna cut school, and I'm gonna go to your house every day and smash because I know your dad ain't home. That's a fact. It's
You
sad, but it's
really
true.
are now.
Now you fast forward to in the future, you going on dates and you got a girl who's family oriented. She got men in her life putting on game. You can't just tell her anything because she already got men putting on game. So it's just like she gonna know when you just running game.
Yeah.
That massage line you use that ain't gonna work on her. You already know. That's why it's important to have men in your life. It's important to have men on your Instagram, your cousin. Dudes don't play when they know when you got 5 dudes that's willing to come out the house and wreck shop for you. There's a difference. It's like we know who to play
Listen,
with and who not to
I
play with.
agree 100%. But at the same time, every woman that you go to, you think that they're going to have 5, 10 dudes ready to tell them what the hell it is, what you said is
We
credible or not.
right, and that's the ones you know
no,
to play with, and you know
you're
which
right.
ones not
That's
to
the
play with.
Situation now.
and that's what I'm saying. That's the problem. So that is the problem. The problem is there are not enough women that have men backing them up. There's not enough men backing up
Yeah.
the women in our culture, right? Period. Because
That's right.
I move differently when my mom is home than when my dad was home. I moved differently in the house. When my dad car pulled up, oh, I straightened up. When my mom car pulled up, oh, I'm seeing if she got groceries. I'm moving differently. I'm moving differently based on if I hear my dad come to the door, I can tell by his combat boots if he was happy or not, and I would stay in my room, right? So that male figure being there to protect the girl, like, come on, like,
Yeah.
if and especially if they meet you, my daughter knows. She told guy, she's like, yeah, I don't know even how to explain my dad because he just crazy. I let them know. I will show up. I will show up. I will show up and lose everything. And that's the man's job, to show up and lose, and willing to lose
Yeah.
everything. And that's why I tell women all the
Yeah.
time, when a man loves you, he loves you. He has to love you differently, because he's willing to give up everything to protect his lineage. He's willing to give up everything. That's his job.
Yeah. Even girls who got
Get
no father,
guns.
but they got five
Get
brothers
guns
in
and
the
get
house,
dogs.
you don't play with them. You know they got five brothers in
Nah,
the
no,
house.
man.
So it's like it's just a little different when you
All
got
right, I'm gonna
men.
go off script real
Man,
quick. Sasha, I hope you don't mind. Who loves harder, men or women?
I think men love
Men.
harder. I think, yeah, I personally just think men love harder because when men fall in love with a woman, there's a little bit of sadness there because like you can't play with this person. You can't. You got to protect
Mm-hmm.
this person. You got to provide for this person. So it's not like a happy go lucky situation because there's a lot that comes when you want to take on somebody and tell them you love them. You got to show them you love them. You got to show up for them in love. So it's a lot more responsibility on a man when he fall in love with a woman.
All right, Jamari, talk to me.
It's the same thing, man. We love hard, man.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We love hard.
So, Sasha, for your next chime in or segment or whatever it may be, yeah, you need to challenge that with your women friend. Because men definitely loves harder because women find what they're missing in other people. Men literally find, search for what they're loving in the actual women that they're actually with.
Right.
So you saying you telling me
Yes.
that as a man,
Yes.
when you love a woman, her faults don't matter.
Nope.
No, I don't need your
Nope.
money.
Love.
I just need your support
That's it.
and your respect.
That's
That's
hey,
it.
that's the most annoying thing. Hey, that's the most
Yeah.
annoying thing right there. When you love them, despite they faults, you like. I tell my wife all the time, I say, "Girl, you lucky I love you, man. You lucky I love you.
Right.
Well, you
That's just what
lucky."
it is. So, for your next episode,
Well, my podcast is focused on the men we carry in our mind as women, not who loves the most.
mm,
You know,
I mean,
but that's an interesting topic
just say
for another series. But I 100% agree with the things you guys were saying. You know, I have my own opinions about certain things that may differ, but when it all boils down to it, I definitely agree with most of the things you guys are saying. Show up, be present. You know, even if you can't afford it, fellas. You know, be present in your child's life. Don't let them go about wondering why didn't my dad love me. You know, um, yeah, just show up and be present.
I would say, hold on. I would say this before you go out. I would say there's a caveat to that as well, though. It's the woman has to really know the man, because not every man should be a father. Not every man, I'm telling you, should show up in their child's life. Some men traumatize their kids.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's important that you are cognizant of what type of man this man
Yeah.
is, and what his family situation is, right? You got to look at how a man treats his mom, even if he has a dad. Like, that's important, because some men, this is why, like, my brother called me the other day and he asked me, he said, hey, because he just had a newborn daughter. I think she's like, Lila's like 2. And he said, did you let your daughter sleep at everybody's house? I said, hell no.
No.
Hell no. What is my job? My job is to protect them. And I know that child abuse and molestation and all that other stuff happens when you leave your child with people who you may think you
Yeah.
trust. You leave them at your cousin's house and they have another cousin that come in and he's touching on your little girl. So you got to be careful who the people that you, especially if you have daughters. So this is a daughter segment. If you have daughters, I say this is the difference between my son and my daughter. When you're raising daughters, males too, you have to really be cognizant of who is around your daughters. My wife know that if something ever happened to us, if we never got, she would never ever be able to have a man in her life. She knows that for a fact. She knows I'm crazy. she knows that I'm not going to let another man be around my daughters. It's just not
Yeah.
going to happen.
I agree with that. Your daughters should not be spending the night at friend's house. My child knows better than to ask me to spend the night, unless we are like girl cousins family and we got girl child growing up together, and maybe I'm gonna be there, you know.
No, I'm
But
definitely gonna be there.
it's like you can't spend the night. But that was for me growing up as a child. I wasn't allowed to go to friend's
A lot
house.
of the freaky sneakies.
I wasn't allowed to even go to the neighbor's house sometimes, you know. I remember one time my grandmother let me go somewhere. And she said, "You better be home before the sun comes down." I went to my friend's house. She had a pool. She had a big old backyard in Jamaica. She had a hammock, and we were hammock. Sorry, my little Jamaican accent just coming out.
Hammock, you got it.
So I was having the best time ever. Getting in pool and I didn't know how to swim, you know, talking smash. And I didn't make it home by the sun setting. And that was my ass. I think I got a whooping. I
You
was
should be.
scared to go home because I knew that wasn't acceptable. So even with my own child, you know, like I practiced that. You can't sleep over anyone's house, especially people I don't know. You can't have any boyfriend, even though I think she'd be having boyfriends and not telling me. You know, these 15-year-olds are sneaky. That's why you homeschool your kids, right, Jamari?
Facts.
But yeah, you gotta be careful on that, you know. There was something else you said that I can't remember right now, but yeah, keep your kids home. Don't send them to other people's house because how you raise your kid and how you structure your household is totally different than everyone else, huh?
I was about to say, just hey, don't have your daughter dating at. Don't have your daughter dating at a young age. It's important that we have these conversations with them. Remember, I told you before, a lot of times when they date at young ages, they're dating boys. These are boys and not men. But then they carried all
Yeah.
those bad relationships from the time they're 14, 15, 16, 17 up into their adult relationships. And they expect, like, well, you dated boys, not men.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's my. Whenever somebody come to me and they're a teenager and they ask about their relationships, you know, my number one thing is to break up. You shouldn't even be stressing about a relationship right now. You need to find who you are. You know,
You
so
had now I remember what you had said. You
yeah,
had said something about, you know the kind of man you're getting into a relationship with or having the kids with, and know what kind of relationship he has with his mother and his father, to see how he's gonna treat you. And I feel like I learned that at a very young age. Like I'm not talking to any men out there who don't necessarily have a relationship with their mom or their family. Because I remember back then when I was in a relationship and he didn't even want me to have a relationship with his mom. That should have been my red flag number one. But I was young and naive, and I didn't think like like, why wouldn't you want
that
me
is
to
a red flag.
have a relationship with your mom or your family or your sisters? So I 100% agree. You got to be careful with those men who don't have a good relationship with their mom or their dad or their siblings, for that matter of fact, because that's important to show you how they're going to treat you. So I definitely agree.
Yeah,
And also,
that's a big
tell
red
you,
flag.
Big red flag, right?
men tell you what they want you to know. You know what I'm saying? They don't color out the lines. They color within the lines. You know what I'm saying? So if you also say, all right, well, he didn't tell me about his mom or the relationship or whatever, you know what I mean? It literally questions how he feels about you as a person. You know what I'm saying? So definitely something to think about.
I'm
Think
gonna
about.
ask because I want to be a part of your family. I want your mama to love me because I'm just lovable. She gonna
that's
love me.
that's
So
not
I
that's not okay.
I don't think you. I don't think you should. I don't know if you should ask that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? That may feel kind of weird. But if a man really, again, if a man loves you, he wants you to meet his mom.
right,
Right.
right,
That I want you to.
yeah,
Before I'm going off, before I married my wife, who was my best friend at the time, my mom, I was with this Jamaican chick. My mom had a conversation with her on the phone because they both like to read books. I said, "Oh, talk to my mom. She likes to read books." Boom, boom. She got the phone. I grabbed the phone back. She said, "You need to leave that other girl, and you need to marry this one."
Parents know.
Moms be letting you know.
Yeah.
They know.
16 years later, you know.
Married her.
No, damn, 17.
I'm gonna need you to get the numbers right. Anniversary's coming up,
17.
But yeah, you're right. I'm not saying I'm gonna write out acts. How's your relationship with your mom? No, I'm gonna be the type of woman that they need, and they're gonna want to introduce me to their mama. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because I'm that great,
All right.
Right, Mari?
All right. Hey, is this the end? This the end, right? This the end, right? Yeah.
Well, I'd like to thank you each for joining on this episode. Like I said, I picked each one of you individually for different reasons because I see something in you that I admire a lot. Jamare, you give me great advice all the time, every day. And like you said, you don't talk to your daughters a certain way and your sons a certain way. You just spit it like it is. And, I appreciate you for that. And Terrence, you're over there always telling me how great of a mom that I am. And I see the kind of dad that you are. And I admire you. Omar, same thing. I appreciate how you show up for your kid no matter what, no matter what may be going on in the background with the kid's mother or whatever. You show up, you're present, and you make it an effort. No matter if you wake up 4:30 in the morning to go to work, you're still showing up. So I appreciate it. So thank you guys for, coming, chiming in and giving your advice to the ladies out there, to the men out there. And yeah, that's a wrap. Thank you.
Happy Father's Day, my brothers.
And happy Father's
Happy
Day.
Father's Day.
You deserve the world and then some.
And Sasha, happy Father's Day.
You know what? Don't even.
I'm saying, you're a mother and a father.
It was fun chatting with you fellas, man. It was fun chatting with you fellas.
All right, guys. I'll see you later. Bye. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, follow, share, comment. Let's get this conversation going, started.
Yeah, we go pay me with a commercial like that. Me I tell a TVJ. Just look at us now. Brr.
First of all, we are not in Jamaica. So cut that crap. We are in these United States of America. No tell me what I'm sitting.